They told me to move, not quietly, not politely, loud enough that every head in the front cabin turned at the same time. "Sir, economy boarding is in the back." I remember that sentence clearly. Not the words themselves, but the confidence behind them. The kind of confidence that comes from already deciding who someone is before they open their mouth. I was sitting in the window seat, jacket folded over my arm, coffee untouched on the tray. I hadn't even finished buckling in. I looked up slowly, not because I was confused, but because I wanted to be sure I'd heard her right. "I'm in the right seat," I said. She smiled, but not a real smile. The kind people use when they think you're about to argue with facts they don't believe you're entitled to. "No, you're not," she replied. "First class is full." Around us, the air shifted. That quiet discomfort people feel when something awkward starts unfolding and they're not sure if they should look away or watch. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't reach for my ticket right away. I just sat there for a second, letting the moment land. Because this wasn't new to me. I've been misread my whole life. Not because I look messy or careless, I don't, but because I don't dress loud. I don't announce myself. I don't perform success for strangers. And for some people, especially in places built on hierarchy, that's suspicious. She crossed her arms. "Sir, I don't want to delay boarding. Please collect your things." That's when I felt it. Not anger, not yet, but something colder. A familiar tightening in my chest. The realization that this wasn't about logistics. It was about comfort. Hers. I reached into my jacket and handed her my boarding pass. She took it like evidence, held it up, tilted it toward the overhead light, flipped it over. Her lips pressed together. "This doesn't look right," she said. I almost laughed. Almost. "What exactly doesn't look right?" I asked. She ignored the question. A second attendant appeared beside her, already nodding along, already aligned. They whispered. I caught fragments. "Upgrade. Probably a mistake. We've seen this before." That part hurt more than I expected. Not because they thought the ticket was wrong, but because of how sure they were. People like certainty, especially when it confirms what they already believe. Someone a few rows up pulled out their phone, then another. I noticed the small red dot of a camera starting to blink, not aimed at them, aimed at me. I could feel the narrative forming without my consent. Difficult passenger, trying to sneak into first class, won't cooperate. I took a breath, slow, measured. "I bought the ticket directly," I said. "Same way everyone else here did." She didn't respond. Instead, she gestured toward the aisle. "Let's step aside." I shook my head. "No." That word landed heavier than I expected. Her expression changed. Irritation slid into authority. Authority slid into threat. "We can call security." "Go ahead," I said. That was the moment everything tipped. Because when someone expects you to back down and you don't, they don't reassess. They escalate. Time stretched. Boarding stalled. The captain's voice crackled over the speaker with an update that didn't explain anything. The looks from other passengers shifted from curiosity to judgment. Not all of them, but enough. And in the middle of it all, I felt strangely calm. I'd spent years in rooms where people underestimated me. Boardrooms, negotiations, deals where the loudest voice assumed it was the smartest. I'd learned something early on. Silence isn't weakness, it's leverage. Another staff member arrived, then a supervisor. Same questions, same tone. "Why are you refusing to move? Why are you being difficult? Can you explain how you got this seat?" Each question stacked on the last like bricks laid carefully to build a version of me that fit their story. I answered simply, clearly, without apology. And still it wasn't enough. At one point the supervisor sighed and said, "Look, sir, if you'd just cooperate, this would go a lot faster." That's when the bitterness crept in. Because cooperation in moments like this doesn't mean clarity. It means compliance. It means accepting humiliation quietly so everyone else can stay comfortable. I glanced around the cabin, at the leather seats, the polished trim, the people pretending not to stare. And I thought about how much effort the world puts into pretending bias is gone while still relying on it every single day. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it right away. They asked me to stand. I didn't. They asked me again, firmer this time. And then finally someone asked a different question. "Sir," the supervisor said, lowering her voice, "what do you do for work?" There it was, the question that wasn't supposed to matter but always does. I looked at her for the long moment, long enough that the silence became uncomfortable again. "I make decisions," I said. She frowned. About. I reached into my jacket again. Not fast, not dramatic, just deliberate. I pulled out a card. Plain, minimal. No flashy logo, just a name and a title. I handed it to her. She read it once, then again. Her face changed in real time. The certainty drained first, then the color. She handed it to the man beside her. He read it. His shoulders stiffened. Someone whispered my name out loud, soft like they were testing it. The air in the cabin shifted again, but this time the power moved with it. I see, she said quietly. I nodded. I'm sure you do. No speeches, no threats, no raised voice. Just truth arriving late but heavy. They apologized. Quickly. Too quickly. The kind of apology that's more about damage control than understanding. I accepted it not because it was sincere, but because holding on to anger would have given them more of me than they deserved. I sat back down. The rest of the flight crew avoided my row entirely. When we landed, there were conversations behind closed doors I wasn't part of and didn't need to be. Actions have consequences. Sometimes immediately, sometimes quietly, always eventually. As I walked off the plane, a woman who'd been filming earlier caught my eye. She looked embarrassed. Maybe thoughtful. Maybe just unsure. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to, because the real victory wasn't being right. It was staying whole. I didn't win by embarrassing anyone. I didn't win by flexing power. I won by not shrinking, by refusing to become smaller just to make someone else feel bigger. That moment stayed with me, not because it was dramatic, but because it was ordinary. Too ordinary. It happens every day to people who don't have a business card to change the tone of the room. And that's the part that still bothers me. Not what happened to me, but how easily it could have ended differently if I hadn't known when to stay quiet, when to stand firm, and when to let the truth speak for itself. So I'll ask you this. Have you ever watched someone be judged before they were heard? And if you have, did you speak up or did you stay comfortable? Tell me what you think in the comments.